William Shakespeare, an intimate look into the life of the most brilliant writer in the history of the English language. Written by Michael W. Simmons. Narrated by Jim D. Johnston. Introduction. Part 1. Why Shakespeare? It's sometimes suspected that the enthusiasm for Shakespeare's works shown by some students is a fiction or a fashion. It's not so. The justification of that enthusiastic admiration is in the fact that every increase of knowledge and deepening of wisdom in the critic or the student do but show still greater knowledge and deeper wisdom in the great poet. When, too, it is found that his judgment is equal to his genius, and that his industry is on a par with his inspiration, it becomes impossible to wonder or to admire too much. George Dawson. Why do we still read Shakespeare today? In high school you were probably forced to read, at minimum, one Shakespeare play, probably Romeo and Juliet, a story whose ending you already knew, and had seemingly always known. You may have gone on to read Macbeth or King Lear or Hamlet in the upper grades as well. What is it about these plays, written 4 centuries ago, that is so important that students are still forced to grapple with them in school? Unfortunately, most people leave school without ever receiving a satisfactory answer to this question. The necessity of reading Shakespeare is taken for granted, by teachers as well as students. It isn't really good enough to say that the study of literature has always been considered a vital component of a well-rounded education. Shakespeare stands apart from most of the literature in the average high school literary curriculum. Apart from Chaucer, students are rarely required to read the work of any other writer whose time is so distant from our own, whose language is so unfamiliar as to scarcely seem like the English we grew up with. There is something about Shakespeare that has prevented him from sliding into the same obscurity as virtually every other writer of dramatic fiction prior to the invention of the novel. Even people who read for enjoyment rarely read plays. Apart from Shakespeare, no other playwright has enjoyed comparable levels of popularity in a printed format. It may come as a gratifying surprise to some readers that even those people who go on to study literature in college, or otherwise pursue literature beyond the requirements of high school, are not always Shakespeare's biggest fans. What is special about Shakespeare is not always apparent, even to people who love books and reading. Early modern English, the English of Shakespeare's time, poses a formidable obstacle to many.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?